Well, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gents. Right, last one from me today, this one, and it really, I think is the last one. I don't think anything else is happening out there that interests. But some furthering thoughts on the Schofield thing that's obviously running at the moment. And it's just something I thought of on the way from where I've been earlier in the car. And a couple of thoughts on the Eamonn Holmes Wooten thing that came yesterday. We've seen part 2. The bit with Schofield, nobody's mentioned this, and it just came to me. We're all pretty sure that Willoughby knew what was going on, at least before the day that they sat down and he did his big reveal. Well, Holmes has said as much, that she's definitely known about the gay part of things beforehand, because he feels that the whole thing was stage managed and rehearsed so well that they must have known. I think he said Holly even wanted to sit in a certain place and have Schofield in a certain place because it looked right for the camera. So that's rehearsed. What we really think we know is we think that she's going to have known about the affair, be it days, weeks or months before. We all think that. We all struggle to think otherwise, if only because a few weeks before at the Soap Awards, the lad has come and confronted her himself. He's confronted Schofield about what we don't know, but I believe he was distraught. He's confronted her again when he was distraught. So no doubt he's said things about Schofield. Even if she didn't know 100%, she's at least heard that. Even if she didn't go to the bosses, which she should have done, and even if she has and the bosses have said there's nothing in it, she still shouldn't have sat down with Schofield that day and did the big reveal. She should have thought, I want to distance myself from this completely. There's no smoke without fire. But let's assume she did know, and let's assume Schofield had told her. Up until this time, Schofield hasn't thrown her under the bus at all. He's completely under the bus. I mean, the bus is like, it's got its wheels off and everything else. It's right on him. But then again, that's of his own making. That's his own fault. They've obviously fallen out. Because of her brand, she tried to get away from him. You know, she said it's him or me on the show and he's gone. And she's supposed to be back on Monday. They've fallen out as friends. The families will, of course, never get on anymore. It's all ended. People like him doing what he's done and being a control freak don't tend to just walk away from things, and they tend to want to also hurt anybody else they possibly can. And I'm thinking, and this is my conspiracy theory, I'm thinking, no one's mentioned this, are we going to get, on Sunday of this week, or Monday, are we going to get something in the press of Schofield to say, he told Holly a week before that reveal, 2 weeks before, a month before, she knew about the affair a year before? Is he going to throw her completely under the bus? Because let's face it, viewers, she's back on the show supposedly on Monday, if it lasts that long. That's when she's back. In the meantime, she might decide not to come back. She might think it's too tainted. In the meantime, ITV might think, no, we just can't bring her back anyway. But let's assume her mind is made up to come back on Monday, and let's assume at this moment in time the show lasts that long and she's coming back. The ideal time for Schofield to let us know that she did know, yet said she never, and went ahead with the reveal in 2020, the ideal time would be Sunday before that first show back, or Monday morning, so everybody's opening the papers an hour or two before the show airs. That'd see her off the telly that day. That'd present this morning with all kinds of problems. I wonder, are we going to see something? Now, if that was me and I had a nasty streak and I wanted to hurt with maximum impact, that I think is, I'd have kept my powder dry. I would have waited till Sunday, Monday. Is he going to do the same? I would suggest if she definitely knew, if at any time he's told her about the affair, at any time, I would suggest we're going to hear something Sunday or Monday. Let's see. Right, finally, this is only short, this. Holmes and Wooten. I say it different every time, don't I? See, the second one of Eamonn's yesterday, I felt a little bit more sorry for him, had a bit more sympathy for him. Do believe that the whole thing was stage managed. Do believe that himself and old Ruth there found that they're in the crosshairs and in what was a very dodgy situation, stage managed, false and all of that. I still believe that Eamonn should have grabbed that lad months and years before, shook him up and said, what's wrong with you? Tell me and I will help you. Got to the bottom of it and then either sought proper help for him or go and told the bosses, or both, even if he lost his job. He didn't do that, and that's surprising. Most all of the rest I forgive him for, but I will still say, I know he said that everything was scripted. I think he said it wasn't even autocue because she normally reads autocue, but she knew it by heart, so he was certain things were scripted. he said that they wanted Ruth to say things and wanted to auto-cue it, but she freestyled it because she's a good presenter. She didn't need that. And he said less, he didn't say much because he was realising it was running away from him. And he's thinking, wait a minute, we're just all part of a pantomime here. It's been stage managed. But if that's the case, the only thing I can pull Eamonn for is, I had to go in before for the hug that he gave Philip when Philip came out. I've seen it since, and Philip walked over to him and hugged him, so he couldn't really do anything there. But when he sat down with him and did the old Philip, we're a team, we'll all be here for you. If he really didn't like him, really thought it was stage managed, I'm half surprised he said that. But the big thing that surprised me is at the end when he did 3 cheers for Schof. Now, unless that was on an auto-cue and Eamonn was told to say that, well, really, if he's told to say it, maybe he has to say it, he can't walk away from it, which is a shame. If he wasn't told to say that, why on earth would Eamonn say, with all the bile that he's got and the hatred he's got for Schofield and for the whole shooting match, why on earth would them words come out of his mouth, let's all in it for Schof? That's one bit that I'd love answering. I wish last night he'd have said, it was all stage managed, blah, 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 blah. And I wish he'd have said, I wish old Dan Wooten had have said, when you said that at the end, Eamonn, did they tell you to say that? Was that on an auto-cue? Or did that come off the top of your head? Because if that was of his own volition, why would Eamonn say that? I'd love to know the answer to that one. But other than that, nothing from me, that's it. But are we going to get a big revelation on Sunday or Monday about Holly? We're definitely going to get a massive one on Saturday from myself, from Timothy. That's 1:15. Don't forget that one. Be there or be square. But I wonder whether we'll get something in the papers this weekend from Schof about old Holly. I wonder if he'll put a final spanner in the works. Maybe he will. We'll see.